Okay, thank you everyone for taking time and being here. My name is Mahesh. I'm currently working as a distinguished engineer at Verizon. At Verizon, my areas of focus are network APIs and edge computing. I get an opportunity to do similar work across the industry, collaborate with my industry peers as part of different forums like GSMA and Camera. A lot of interesting work happening in this area. I'll talk a bit about Verizon does, what the ecosystem is driving towards, and also highlight two of the recent demos that Verizon did with two different ISVs, again in partnership with other global telcos. Again, if anyone is following this space actively, you would have seen a lot of press releases coming out. Mainly during the time of Mobile World Congress, Barcelona. GSMA put out that network APIs is a $300 billion market available for the telcos. Most telcos across the world announced availability of network APIs, either for tech ready or GA. Mostly Camara compliant APIs. That's again a key aspect of standardization. And it's not just the telcos who are interested in this space. It's also the hyperscalers, all the major hyperscalers, ISVs. Verizon made an announcement of partnership with Vonage starting off this year, where Vonage will play the role of an API aggregator platform, making our APIs more accessible to the broader developer networks. Developer community. And coming to the APIs itself, network APIs. First, starting like we are looking at a bottom-up approach, looking at all the data that's available in the network. Again, all network providers, we have a wealth of data, be it about the network itself, what the availability of the network, what capabilities are available within it, the network performance data. We have insight about the devices which are connecting to our network, what capabilities they have, and they can take advantage of that has available in the network. About the subscriber plans itself, like what the subscriber plans are, what entitlements they have, which can again help in decision making. So we are holistically looking at all the data across the board and trying to find what would be relevant information for the developer community, and then make that data available. It could be read-only data, view-only data, or some amount of configuration control, but making these capabilities available in the form of network APIs. I'll call out a few ones. Quality on demand is very, very popular. Multiple operators across the world have made it available for various demos. It's very well published, where an application developer who know best what their application needs are. It could be latency sensitive, jitter sensitive, packet loss sensitive, any specific KPI, one or more of the KPI that their application cares about deeply. They can request the network for a controlled quality of service for their very specific end users. Similarly, network insights is, again, they can get a very clear view of what kind of network performance the end users of their apps are getting while the session is active. Edge Discovery Service, again, I'll also highlight a couple of demos about Edge Discovery Service. Like network providers exactly know how the data packets are getting routed from a given UV. So with that information, we are able to help in taking the decision or helping in taking the decision on what would be the most optimal edge compute site a given UV should connect to get the least possible latency. Again, device intelligence. Subscriber identity is something that we are again seeing a lot of interest. Subscriber SIM swap, device status, whether like what kind of capabilities they have, that they are in roaming or not, number verification. A lot of these sort of APIs are being looked at from a fraud detection and prevention perspective. There's a list of demos put up in Camera website if anyone is interested, what different operators have made enable. Please take a look. Okay. So for network operators like we at Verizon, it's creating new APIs is not something new. We have always been doing it. But the challenge has been the wider adoption of it. The APIs typically that is in practice, what we make available is caters to large enterprise customers who have the time and resources to actually work closely with us, understand, give us requirements, understand what we have developed, and then finally integrate with it. This is definitely not a scalable model. We recognize it, the industry widely recognizes this, and the whole ecosystem is actually trying to address these set of problems, starting with availability. Again, the app developers who want their app to be used on all the smartphones, any devices across the globe, if they're building any of their services on top of the network APIs that we are making available, it is key that the same capabilities are available across the globe. If it's only US, if it's only Verizon, there wouldn't be a lot of interest or return of effort versus returns would not be justified for the developers. So having the capability, network capability in the form of API across the globe as much as coverage as possible is the key from an availability perspective. The second is from a consistency perspective. One aspect is having the capability available in the form of API, easy to integrate, but also if they have to code specifically for each operator's implementation, it's a nightmare. We all can agree to that. So having a standardized set of APIs where they can code once and reuse for all the operators, major benefit. Simplicity. These are app developers who are focused on maybe some gaming app, VR, AR, different apps where they are the experts on their area, but not necessarily they might not understand the complexities about a network, and they shouldn't have to. And that's a key aspect of all the APIs that we are trying to develop as part of Camera, which Verizon closely works with, that each of the API is an intent-based API. I'll call out a few examples as well for this. Community-driven, if we think there's a certain data that is relevant, there's a certain way that we can expose it, but go through the process of developing, making it available, and then seek for feedback. It's a long cycle to then take feedback and introduce improvements in it. Having the community participate in the initial API specification stage is very beneficial. Again, industry inputs, it's not only what we think will be beneficial, getting the inputs from the industry, Open Gateway, GSMA Open Gateway is doing a great job at this, getting the feedback from across all the telcos as well as some of the customer voices. And Camera also has a way for users to come in and give requirements of new capabilities as well. So these are the challenges that we have identified and in the process of addressing. The whole ecosystem, going to the next slide, there's a whole ecosystem trying to address these set of challenges. Starting with GSMA, Open Gateway Initiative, which I've referred multiple times already, cares for funneling, creating the prioritized funnel of network APIs, which can then be channeled to Camera for the actual API spec development. Also, within Open Gateway, we do additional work in terms of East-West federation. Like for cases like roaming, there is a need for agreement between the operators while using these APIs. There's another aspect of channel onboarding. So it's not necessary that each operator have a go-to-market strategy. They have their own marketplace. There can be one API aggregator platform which can help make the developers' life easy as well as for the operators. So there's multiple initiatives within Open Gateway to address all of this. Camera, the scope is very focused on northbound service APIs. Identify very specific intents like what we touched upon earlier, quality on demand, network insights, swim swap, very specific intent, and a simple, easy to use, understand and use responses in the API specification. That's the focus for Camera. TM Forum, again, is closely partnering with Camera and GSMA on this. Their focus is to create operate APIs. one aspect is having the common set of capabilities from across all the telcos. But Operate APIs take this one step forward by standardizing how developers can sign up for it, authorization, authentication, application onboarding aspect of it, all of that is being standardized via these TM Forum APIs. One key highlight that I want to call out here, because GSMA, there's a lot of times the question comes up that GSMA has attempted this in the past as well. What's something new this time? The development is being done in the form of API specification, not documentation, which can be interpreted differently. Here it's API specification, which can be validated for conformance using various linting tools. Okay, specific demos, like there were two key demos. Some of the press also called it out as world first demos. I'm not sure on that. Where Verizon partnered with two different ISVs, starting with Open Sesame with child cover. There's a very cool video. I thought that was the coolest part of my presentation. If the technical issues permit, I'll play it at the last end of this session. So what we did with Open Sesame is we had, first of all, about Open Sesame, it's an application which supports ultra low latency audio synchronization features. And they are available as part of, a component of it is available on, which can be deployed on mobile phones, which the musicians can use. And so they have a cloud side component of it for the audio mixing as such. As part of this demo, we had 3 musicians, one in New York, one in Toronto, and the other one in London. Each of them connected over 5G to 3 different, their own respective networks, Verizon, Rogers, and Vodafone respectively. And again, each of them had the Sync Stage app deployed on their phone. And they could, via all the, I'll get to the architecture in the next slide, via the combination of what was deployed on wavelength zones, plus Rogers used the Outpost, and the regions itself where the app was installed, Open Sesame app, they were able to play music as if they were all together in one stage. Imagine this like a key aspect of this, what I learned during the demo. I'm not a musician. What I learned about the demo is it's really important for them to listen in real time what the other person's playing. Like it's easy when they're all on one stage, they're hearing and they're responding to it. But the same thing when it is thousands of miles apart. It's not only them playing, it's not choreographed that each of them can stand alone, play their part. They have to exactly listen to what the other person, the 2 other persons are actually playing and be in sync with that. So that kind of that requires ultra low latency, and doing that across the ocean, across the Pacific, Atlantic, huge. So that is that's one of the use cases that was demonstrated. And Open Sesame used edge discovery service to figure out what is the most optimal edge site. Again, each operator has this deployed EDS edge discovery service API deployed and available, which Open Sesame used to figure out what is the most optimal MEC site for the end user to connect to, and get this whole use case, make this whole use case possible. Here is, for people who would be interested, some of the latency improvement data that we saw. Again, this is based on a New York region versus a New York wavelength zone, for example. They're not really far. The difference would be much more substantial when there are a lot more, higher number of MEC deployments. But still, this made a huge difference for the application. I have this on if anyone wants more details. There's a white paper. There's 2 white papers, one by Open Sesame and another by AWS, if you want to understand more details on how this whole thing is working. The next demo that we did, this was showcased in the Mobile World Congress, which happened in Vegas last year, November timeframe, I believe. Matsuko is a hologram-based web conferencing tool, The cool thing about them is you don't need any extra additional hardware to make to create the holographic images. Based on the iPhone camera, at that point of time, they used to work with iPhone. Just with that single iPhone camera, they were able to create the holograph-based rendering of the users. And to view it, though, the users do need a headset, VR-based headset. And it would, the experience is as if they're in the same room talking to each other, seeing each other experiences right there. For this demo, again, Verizon partnered with Bell Canada this time and Vodafone. Yeah, the API which was used was again Edge Discovery Service. There was we evaluated using quality on demand as well. The requirements for this was about something between 2 and 5 MB per second download and a lesser than that upload. So we were good with what was available with the network at that point of time. Okay. Going forward perspective, the industry efforts to make it really accessible. There's continued efforts, what I was referring to from an Operate API. TM Forum is standardizing the APIs for anyone to get access to these APIs, authentication authorization. But then there's also the API aggregators, which will play a big role. We are seeing, again, CSPs, SIs, ISVs, everyone wanting a chunk of this. There's some more journey for this to become a reality so that developers, like all the previous 2 demos that I spoke, developers actually had to call API gateway hosted by the individual, like the 3 different operators. With this, they would have one endpoint, and the API aggregator platform will figure out what the user is, which phone they're connected to, which network they're connected to, and accordingly direct it. So makes a developer's life much more easy and increase the adoption as such. So there's some more work to be done. Standardization has started, implementation and partnership is ongoing. Having the next one point is about having a healthy list of backlog in terms of API capabilities, what needs to be developed. Again, Open Gateway has this mechanism to funnel, collect feedback from various telcos, various sources, and channel it, prioritize it, and then channel it. This is Camera is an open source project, again, emphasizing that anyone can go in and start contributing in terms of either API specification development or even putting new requests for functionality from the telcos, what you can use. The last one is, again, we are closely looking at verticals where we can demonstrate the capabilities of how we can use, how these network APIs can be leveraged. 2 use cases which I talked about, but we are looking at a lot more industry-specific use cases where we can demonstrate the capabilities of these APIs and again, raise the interest level around this. Okay. Now I'm going to try out the tricky audio part. Okay. Not last but not the least, if anyone has any further questions, have any interest in reaching out to Verizon team to ask about what we're doing with network APIs, any feedback, please scan. There's an email ID at the bottom. Please feel free to reach out. Okay, the video that I promised, that's what I'm going to try playing now. I tried it a couple of times where the laptop stopped responding. Let's see if I have any better luck. Okay.
Fantastic, and that's a cut. So that's a wrap, everyone.
Okay, so if someone just walked in, it was not a talk show, it was just a concert that was enabled by network APIs. That's all I had. The slides are available on the website. Please download, and you know how to reach us. Thank you for everyone's time today. Thanks for being here.